Hey guys, so in today's video, if you couldn't tell by the title, I wanted to share some tips for adjusting to being or becoming disabled. For those of you who don't know, I have had multiple chronic illnesses for years, but I just recently had to quit working because I am currently a full-time wheelchair user due to being paralyzed on most of my right side. So these are just some tips that I came up with. If you see me looking down, I do have my phone down here because I did take notes to make sure that I didn't miss any important points that I wanted to cover in this video. Um, so this is just for people who are newly disabled or who are having um, a hard time adjusting to becoming disabled or being newly disabled. So, like I said, these are going to be 4 tips, I think is what I wrote down, that I think are important when you are adjusting to becoming disabled or adjusting to living a life as a disabled person. So again, if I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at my phone to make sure that I don't miss any points. So the first thing is to acknowledge and process the emotions that you're having. So it's obviously a natural thing to be angry, to be frustrated, to be sad, to mourn the life that you had prior to becoming disabled, to grieve for the things that you might not be able to do anymore, especially if it's something as serious as needing to be in a wheelchair full time. There's a lot of things that physically I just can't do anymore, at least for the time being. So I would make sure that you are checking in with your emotions, feeling those emotions, and allowing yourself the grace to deal with and process those emotions. Um, if you feel like it's serious enough, I would recommend talking to a therapist. One thing that was helpful for me was without or throughout this whole process, there was um, therapists and psychiatric professionals in the inpatient rehab unit or working on the inpatient rehab unit that I was on for almost a month after this all initially happened. But I would consider talking to somebody because it does help to get that frustration out there. It does help, like, even if you don't want to see a therapist, having somebody who you trust, who you can share those feelings with and feel free to talk about everything that you're going through is definitely helpful. Um, you have to work through these feelings. Otherwise, it's just going to snowball into this big ball of stress that can further affect your health, especially your mental health. There are also support groups that you can join, even if you don't have one that you can go to in person, or maybe you have issues with getting to an in-person support group. There are a lot of online support groups, and there might be one specific to whatever condition or disability that you have. Um, Tip number 2 is to learn everything you can about your condition, whatever is causing you to have this disability. Understanding your disability can give you a better ability to deal with and or handle it. It can also make you feel like you're more in control of things because you know what's going on. You kind of know what to expect, or you know that this is an unexpected or can be something that has symptoms that come and go, things like that. Like, it gives you a better sense of what you're dealing with, as well as a higher sense of control, if that makes sense. I would make sure that you're using reliable resources to get information. Like, don't just Google and read everything because not everything is reliable sources. So make sure that you're doing like NIH, advocacy organizations, things like that, that you know are from reputable sources. Or if you have a healthcare professional in your area that specializes in whatever disorder or condition or disability that you have been diagnosed with, then they might be able to put you in touch with different resources or give you access to different resources to give you more information about your condition. I would also say one of the most important things is to be open to learning about any assistive technologies or assistive devices that might be able to help you live your life a little bit easier. Adaptive strategies that let you have a higher quality of life than you might have if you weren't open to like researching any of those things or utilizing any of those resources. Um, Tip number three is to build a support network. Surround yourself with family, friends, people within the disability community. There's like a huge disability community on social media. I have followed quite a few people on the disabled side of TikTok. Um, you know, they are very supportive and they can offer you advocacy support, emotional support, especially if it's somebody who has the same condition that you have. They would most understand what you're going through, and they might have gone through the exact same thing early on in their process of being diagnosed, and they might be able to offer you some helpful advice or talk to you about how they dealt with things. Online forums are another thing. There's a lot of like online support groups on Facebook. I have joined quite a few that have to deal with the medical conditions that I struggle with. And so it can also give you like a sense of belonging because there's a group of people who finally understand what you're going through. Because you're going to find that your able bodied friends who don't have this medical condition or disability that you have, they're not going to fully understand what it is that you go through because they couldn't even imagine in their wildest dreams what you have to go through. Um, Another thing is to make sure that you're not hesitating to ask for help if you need help. Um, it's not weak to ask for help. And I think people, when they first become disabled, that is the last thing that you want to do, is have to ask for help because it can make you feel even more weak. And like I was very, very hard on myself. I have a lot of negative self talk to begin with. But when I first became disabled to this level where I've had to deal with all of this paralysis on the right side, my negative self-talk increased by like 1,000,000%. So just ask for help if you need it. And the last tip is to focus on the things that you are still able to do. Shift your mindset from the independence that you've lost to thinking about what is still possible, the things that you can still do by yourself, the function that you might be able to regain in the future. I think it's important to try to stay as positive as you possibly can. I know it's very hard. I currently struggle with this on a pretty much daily basis. I get very frustrated very easily, and I struggle with this. So I completely understand if it's not so simple to just look the other way and be like, oh, well, maybe in 3 years I'll be able to do this, or maybe in a month I'll be able to do this. I get it. Okay. But try to look on the positive side. Explore hobbies, skills, or activities that you enjoy and adapt to be able to do them in a way that you actually can. So, for example, I've had to learn to do a lot of things that I enjoy doing one handed because I have this one good hand, my left hand. Thankfully, I was paralyzed on my non dominant side. So, thankfully, I have my dominant hand, which is my left hand, that is not paralyzed. So, I've been able to keep the function on that side. But I have had to adapt a lot of things because I only have the one side. Um, I would also say that if you are able to continue to work or you're going to school, things like that, make sure that you are asking for accommodations if you need them, in the workplace, at school, and even at home. If you need any sort of accommodation, don't be afraid to look for those accommodations and ask for help if you need it. Anything that will help you maintain your independence, whether it is like some of the things that I use, which I can go over some of the tools that I use that are one handed, or that can help me do things one handed, I should say. Then let me know if you'd be interested in hearing more about that. But anything that will help you maintain your independence and or help you to gain access to be able to do certain tasks, that is going to be helpful. So just remember that this is a process. This is an everyday process for me. Even now, I've been dealing with this. I've been dealing with disability and chronic illnesses for years. However, like This paralysis just started in October of 2024, and as I'm filming this, it is the middle of December 2024. So this is still very fresh and new to me. So it is definitely a process and is something that I struggle with still every day to this point. Um, you have to remember to give yourself grace. You have to be patient with yourself. It's not an overnight process. Things don't just get better like at the snap of a finger. Um, build a good supportive community of people around you who care for you, truly care for you and want the best for you. Make sure that you are reaching out to those resources to get whatever tools and or help that you need to be able to do things most independently, and try to keep as positive of a mindset as you can. So hopefully that this hopefully this video was helpful to someone. Let me know if there's any topics that you guys would like me to cover on my channel in the future. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know and leave them in the comments below. I'll either respond in written format or most likely make a video responding to it. Just so you know, I am backlogged with uploading videos, so I will get to your comments. Just please give me a little bit of patience. I film multiple videos a day. Usually Monday through Friday, I film at least 2 videos a day. I try to do 3 videos a day, Monday through Friday. So I do have quite a backlog so that if anything happens, I'm still able to upload for you guys every day. So anyways, that is all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this was helpful, like I said, and I will see you guys in my next video.